Thank you for visiting this April 2025. This is Glenn Lyvers with some of my favorite poets. We're here for the April reading event, and we're going to get started with Lynette Esposito, please.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Gotcha. Mhm.
This is Lynette Esposito from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I have a poem on sacrifice. I am lying on the chest of the ocean, weeping mermaid tears into the wet seagrass. Below, orange coral catches each silver drop. My tears add nothing to nature's power but grief. That's it. And this one I haven't titled yet. I'm just working on it. I'm working with some images. The river flows down the green stony bank, gathering tears against the granite face. I can hear its voice in the rapids rushing, moaning before the fall. Then after the rocks and down, grief springs up with every drop, then slinks back down. This river has no name. We know it when we see it. We drown near it. That's it. And one more negative poem. Sorry about that. After your funeral, they speak of grief in quiet whispers. I know I hear from across the room. What can we do for her? Soon the room empties and I am alone. They could have stayed, I think, and taken me into their young arms. They run to do some errands, pick up milk for the kids and peanut butter. I'm out of everything.
Why did peanut butter make that feel so real? Like we all
Because it's in
have,
every house.
yeah, it's in every house, right? And especially every house with kids, unless there's an allergy or something. That's
And
just
one quick
wonderful.
note, I wrote
Hmm.
a poem on Aries last time we read together,
Hmm.
and I sent it out and it was accepted. And the sweet spot is my daughter sent something to the same spot. So we're going to be in the same book. How cool is that?
Oh, that is cool. Congratulations. That is the best. I appreciate that. Let me get mine out of the way here. I only have one. And then we'll go to Bob. Sorry, I guess I was a fibber. Let's just do this. So now I live in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. It's Glenn Lyvers, and my we have this huge cemetery. I mean, it is ginormous, and it's called Grandview. And in the cemetery, there's a particular grave, and I looked this guy up, and his name was Buzz Wagner, Lieutenant Colonel Boyd D. Buzz Wagner. So I just wrote this piece. There's a picture of him, and it's about sacrifice. But he was a pilot, and when he died, he had a funeral. And in looking back, I see these articles where thousands of people, lined all the streets of our town to for his funeral, which is, a very, very touching thing that uh, the world stopped, and we're so jaded now. We turn on the news and we hear the worst thing that happened somewhere in the world, and it starts to like eat away at us to where our feelings aren't as close to the surface. But when he went, the world was not like it is now, and it's very sweet. So this is the piece I wrote for him. Looking skyward at Grandview, it must have felt strange letting the world fall from your hands, that first skyward yaw pulling the wheels from the ground. Johnstown shrinking to hills and smokestacks below, in the wide sky, waiting with arms outstretched. You were a boy with steel wings and quiet eyes, flung far from home, drawing fire in churning skies, and through that hellish heaven above, 8 names fell behind your streaking shadow, planes broken and folded into silence, your guns unstitching their borrowed air. They called you the first ace because we saw who you really were, the first to rise and not come back the same. A poet once wrote, "Something does not love a wall, and the sky is no different. The impossible weight of metal surrendered to the wind, pulling glory from the sky, the same weight that breaks all our heroes." And in the January cold, when you came home to Johnstown, the town surged forward and stood still for you, 20,000 strong, lining the winter streets in silence and frozen breath. Still, we carry your memory like a warm flame. Unless we forget, it is etched into Grandview stone. Even the sky remembers with each passing breeze, airy whispers drifting over your grave. And when we pass by and read your name, we pause and glance once more toward the sky, our hearts pulled upward as if we might leave the ground to feel what it meant to rise and not come back the same. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Okay, Bob Moreland, please.
Well, and I'm actually back in the location here where I used to read. You remember the fireplace? I'm Bob Borland. I'm from Carroll Beach, Wisconsin on Lake Michigan. And May 2nd would have been the 100th birthday of my uncle, whose name I share. And Glenn, you really set the stage for me. I'll do two that are a little long and one short. So this is called In the Breach. In memory of pharmacist mate first class, Doc Robert Danlaw II, 1st Battalion, 1st Marine Raiders, and later 6th Marines. Sometimes when life gets hard, I think of you, 21, Navy corpsman among all those Marines trying hard to eschew the fear lurking below the surface unsung. It took the sergeant's leg when the shell hit, laying out 6 more, most of them in shock. Bullets over your head, you grabbed your kit, battlefield amputation, bandage took stock. Each in turn you treated. Without thought you stayed. Guam's August heat did your job imbue. Valor is not the absence of fear. Afraid, you go because someone is counting on you. My uncle, whose name I share, you impart honor as I remember you in my heart. And that's his flag on the mantle. And a Tonka, rite of spring. Gravel prairie road, doe pauses in bright headlights, sleeping half-filled ditch. April's first fawn in her belly jolts her flight, kicks with new life. Thank you. And lastly, this is my uncle again. While I have lived in Boston and Wisconsin, I was born in Louisiana. Louisiana is the only state of the Union that does not have counties. We have parishes. And so that will be the explanation for the title. This is West Feliciana Parish Blues. To the southwest, lightning illuminates cloud banks lurking in the humid spring night. Mississippi River artery pumps russet flows in silence as the old New Roads ferry makes its last run across roiling currents. It has been stormy all day this Easter. Tepid clouds stirred early, blocking the sun, while by hot mid-afternoon thunder growled. 4 generations of families gathered. Tornado watches announced across the parish as egg hunts and tosses occurred beneath tumultuous, threatened skies. Heavens opened. Rain's staccato drumbeat on the tin roof reached a fever-pitched roar. The Louisiana lilt of words picked my ear, Southern-born my tongue Yankeefied by years spent in Boston and the Midwest. The simple beauty of life's brief waltz captured in congregations of babies and growing children of children, seeing the mortal in the immortality of it all. How fleeting is this life? We live as though we feign forever, yet have but a mayfly's day. As the hourglass drips sand and numbered heartbeats reach their end, the aging partners postpone their last dance, surprised when clocks begin to chime midnight. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Gloria, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gloria from Pleasant Valley, New York, which is upstate. And I have two poems, three. Actually, I have two haikus and another short one. This one is, well, I'll read it. Slab of bloodied stone, rituals of the ancients, glory to the gods. And I'll read it again. Slab of bloodied stone, rituals of the ancients, glory to the gods. And this one is about migration. The journey complete, sipping nourishing nectar while she hums with joy. The journey complete, sipping nourishing nectar while she hums with joy. And if I have time, I'll just read this one. I'm kind of playing around with this. Inhaling deeply, hands gently massage the coins. They tinkle like chimes, pockets filled with hope and fear. Not today, not tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. I really like the hummingbird poem. That was good. All right, excellent. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you.
Let's move on to Dennis Malsby, please.
I'm Dennis Malsby from Bloomington, Minnesota, and I've got a haibun, and I'm trying to get enough haibun together to put a chapbook, so I got about 8, so I probably need another 20. This haibun, it happens. I ogle a long-legged filly of a woman, those lovely, arousing limbs. The chorus girl gams, the apogee of thousands of attentive years of adaptive evolution. Male ancestors attracted to those blessed females whose offspring then had slightly longer legs, which became more enticing, resulting in each generation producing longer-legged women. Men and women find a way, sexual selection. And a couple of haiku. "12-story window, coffee pot gurgles cheerily as I leap. 12-story window, coffee pot gurgles cheerily as I leap. Talking heads spit news, my brain a cuspidor. Talking heads spit news, my brain a cuspidor. Her body and mind a lifetime, of exploration. Her body and mind, a lifetime of exploration. His apple tree consumed by her strangling fig. His apple tree consumed by her strangling fig. That's all from me, sir.
Thank you. I think that that first one I would put safely in the heart of a senryu. Um, the senryu form of haiku that it's about human foibles, and I just love that. That was really, really nice. Appreciated those. Edward Ahern, please.
Okay. Everybody here? Yeah, there I am. I only have two poems, so I'm going to devote a little of my time to backstory. Um, the first poem is about the Miramichi River, which is the second largest river in New Brunswick, Canada. A lot of people don't know the name. And I misspent years salmon fishing on it. It's descriptive, but it's also accurate. It's been published in Bewildering Stories, which isn't quite as exalted as it sounds. I'm an editor there, so they pretty well have to accept anything I send them. Um, However, it was also voted into the annual review, which is kind of my pass fail on the things, which was nice. Okay, and everybody see that? This is called Miramichi Afternoon. The sloping shoulders of the river tumble down rock on rock toward the wind-riffled, slow-flowing water. Alder and grass creep down the slope, but will be ripped up once more by the ice-out floods of early spring. The stones and haphazard boulders are sun-baked into featureless gray, their bright minerals shrouded from view. Land-living things are more sparse here, and those present are paused by the heat. Out on the water, a dimple of a ringrise, perhaps a salmon, more likely a trout, a noiseless punctuation of somnolence. And the second one, I have to admit, I'm a heathen. I mentally composed it during a church service, which was kind of boring. So take that for whatever it's worth. All the Soliloquist published this one. It's called Sermon Unheard. The words do not reach me in the last pew. The preaching is as sonorous and unknowable as the Latin intoned for centuries to illiterates. I would guide my behavior on what is said, but can grasp only fragments of phrases. Does the failing of my hearing or listening leave me vulnerable to sinning and ignorance? Or could I be saved by spiritual resonance? My pew has the trappings of limbo. That's it.
Very, very good. Thank you for that.
Come on, give me this. There we go. Okay.
All right, very good. I just love that that story about you doing it while you were in church. That's just so great. I used to really love buying at like garage sales or wherever I could get my hands on the really old hymnals and reading them because they're so poetic. I mean, these you catch these lines that are just they're so moving. Ginny, Ginny, always a lively
Here
voice.
I am. I was born in Somerset, Glenn, so that's not too far, is it, from
No, no, not at all. Very
yeah.
cool.
All right, the first one here is the name is Dive. The sign reads Dalesford Lake, but it's not a lake. It's a buried limestone quarry. I imagine the dive, knifing my arms through water to reach drilling rigs, excavators, the graveyard at the bottom. How loud the air must have sounded when engines were running, pumps that held the relentless at bay, kept the pit dry of groundwater. When the operation shut down, how long did it take before the machines and their hearts drowned? I climb inside the cab of an abandoned haul truck. its seat dissolving, floating away fiber by fiber. Grab the steering wheel to hold its hand. Me and my new friend, an old machine who worked so hard. He whispers to me of the way geese draw lines on the surface above in a child's dot to dot puzzle. I stay as long as my oxygen tank holds out until dawn carves a shaft through murky water, ignites the sparkle of sunken Christmas trees long forgotten, the ones my father hauled home in the bed of his rattling, rusted Chevy truck, the end of another year of breaking his back working the line in a bottling plant that stole his hearing and too many days of his youth. The next poem is titled Maidens. Finally, a restaurant in our rural town that isn't local and family owned, a chain restaurant, something our parents say like it's a dirty word, which only adds to the allure, frantic excitement inside the VW bug my friend wheels into the lot of Pizza Hut. A day already mind-blowingly cool, she passed her driver's test on the first attempt, and now we are going out for dinner to a place with red plastic soda glasses, red and white checkered tablecloths, aroma of garlic, new carpet, salad bar, novelty of help yourself, so many options, ham cubes, grated cheese, croutons, bacon bits, dressings to be ladled to heart's desire. A perfect day, like our lives will be. What could be more promising than us? Our sparkly two tops and painter pants, kissing potion roller ball lip gloss, love's baby soft cologne, fry boots, Monet gold hoops, utopia just before it isn't, before the pierce of bitter bullets. Two girls, frozen, plate suspended over lettuce in a salad bar basin, writhing and warning with warning and worms. And the last one poem is Funeral at Two. Small town America, a place you drive through and a handful of heartbeats. I didn't grow up there. I grew up far away. No lights in a cousin's house visible from my back porch. They love me anyway. My father's sister is gone, kind and funny, the last of the original family. She once served an orange jello mold with shredded carrots inside. I told myself to eat because she loved me too. A church of soil brown bricks. The outside air smells of soil, of earth, of elemental things. At first, I approach the wrong door, but then I see it, the red door. That must be the way inside. Heavy, thick beams, rain on a cast iron handle. I step inside a jewelry box, red velvet under my feet. Small chapel where Jesus is a baby in every stained glass window. Here, it's hard to believe how the story will go, how it ends with nails. One cousin notices me, mouths, "Good to see you." I nearly drop to my knees. I wish they'd close the top of the jewelry box and we could all stay here forever. There are readings, stories. One man belts the hymns, horribly off key. Good for him. People give the side eye wink. I hate the organ like a kid hates organs. Dreary, warbly beasts. We were all kids once, remember? An hour gone and we're in the side hall. Hugs like salve, coffee vapor, cold metal plate, cold cut plate, macaroni salad, pickles, chips, cake, always cake. Why is the day so perfect? It's like a drug. The whole day is like a drug. In the parting photograph, we cousins line up, lean toward each other. Our smiles rise as magic mist, colorful lights that swirl above the red-hot artery of family. My brother couldn't attend. How'd it go? He asks. I can't imagine a way to describe 4 hours inside a jewelry box. Red velvet, stained glass, organ music, candlelight, baby, blood. Thanks so much.
Thank you. The red hot artery of family. Did you guys get that? Wasn't that nice? Wow, that was that's a line. That's the kind of line that you read in a poem and you don't forget it. And it's funny that that thing that you did there with that almost just glossed over it, but the last of the original family. We all sort of think that, right? As we're growing up and we have the original family, and then there's this, diminishment of that as people branch
Mhm.
out,
Yeah.
um, and that just really hit me. Oh, wow, really, really good. I always count on you for something to think about. Really, really appreciate
Great.
that.
Thanks for
Excellent
having
work.
me.
Oh, we just love having you. Thank you for coming. And everyone, of course. Linda, please.
Okay, sorry, couldn't find my unmute there. Okay, I have three today. I'm Linda from Wichita. First one's called I'll Carry Your Ghost. I shall open all envelopes of complaint, accept denunciation by those passionate in their stinging rebukes. I'll take the blame for your past actions, having caused the current reproach. I shall pocket your 30 pieces of silver because you left me in command of the purse strings. My contribution, however unknown to me at the time, and however undeserved, demands I must now own your shadow. You had so many rooms with tightly locked doors, but the key is now in my possession. I'll wipe down your walls and let my mind gather the webs and mold. We have the blessing or the curse of the invisible thread. I'll not fight the old, we'll work to construct the new, and in the process, protect your legacy. And when I am done making your excuses, I will find time to finally make things right. Thank you. Next one is called Those in Uniform. You're talking about sacrifice. You always have to have something to do with that. I strongly believe that. Those in uniform. Flattering impressions of well ironed attire with sharp vertical creases and remarkable quality stitching at the seams imbues an aura of strength. Neatness worn by those having principled philosophies, performing good and righteous actions, possessed of sterling reputations, those carrying virtues surrounding a belief that justice is essential. When the world flashes rapid negativity and the rise of barbarians stops us cold, when there's too much fear and all our dreams seem as nightmares, gratitude is what we feel when our Savior's positive visionary schemes supplant those terrors and help us survive madness. Strong yet gentle, those in uniform stand. Near or far, safe days lie ahead while there are heroes in pain, bleeding colors for us. Thank you. The last one is called Sacrifice. They, three small young ones, left alone by her neglect to find their own path. This must be the way of it. She can't take the time to do what should be done. She must step out to see him. It's more pleasant this way. He knows not of them, but if he did, he would be gone. So there's no chances to be taken. She'll meet him somewhere else, always. He speaks about the world, speaks about himself, always. Such a relief as she need give nothing away. Even her eyes do not betray her as she searches her face. The truth, will it ever be told? She tells herself she deserves a man's love, justifies the life she's now going to live. A great life, once denied to her when they came into hers. Now he asks, travel, go. She says yes, gets into his car. A new city beckons, a fresh start, and she convinces herself that they, the three small young ones, will somehow find their own path. This must be the way of it. Thank you.
Man, that was something very powerful and
Thank you.
sad. James Bethel, please.
Hey,
Thank you, Linda, by the way.
you're welcome, James.
Extraordinary. I am James Bethel, by the way, and I'm in Tulsey Town. in the northeast corner of Oklahoma. We're experiencing thunderstorms. So there may be a bang or a boom in the middle of this coming from the gods wherever. But they're also kind of metaphorically consonant with this first poem, the title of which is The Silence of an Old Drum. Francis's voice has gone silent. There is now another kind of rhythm in the world. Yet it is a great rhythm, this breathing of the world, through our own breath and heartbeat, and with each a pause, ruminations of past and future and the unique rhythms of the present. In the quest of this eternal moment, we sense both the light and dark of the world's beauty, its fear, its pain. The suffering of which we are most aware these days is not the end of the world, but it's a transition to an unknown place we trust reflects our own beauty to test yet new challenges. The title of this one is You Can Only Get There From Here, with get spelled get. Comprehending the way is like dancing with architects. The way, it turns out, comprehends us. Talking about the way is not the way to comprehend it. Silence is the only approach while still incomprehensible. There is still yet nothing to stand under, above, below, or beside the right answer. The right answer is, I don't know. But this is difficult to understand. And this one, Bukowski at the Cosmo Bar. Mother, Father Mayahana, how do I know if I am enlightened? Such an outrageous question. Might find an appropriate answer from someone like Bukowski, muttering from some cosmic bar on a star a billion miles from here. Dude, he'd say, if you have to ask, you ain't there. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
That was great. You know, the funny thing about that is you can just almost see that in your head. That's sometimes the all right. Very, very good. I'm going to mute you, James, and we'll go to Peter.
Hello.
Hey.
Am I coming through? Yeah. Right. Peter from Churchill near Chipping Norton in Oxfordshire. And I've got 3 poems. I didn't manage to write anything for the prompts new, but I did try to choose 3 poems that, well, sort of went with the prompts. I've just got to remember where the share is. And here we are. Or rather, we're not. Yes, we are.
Here we
Can
go.
you see that?
Yes.
Right. There's a great big thing saying you're sharing in front of the poem. Here we are. It's cleared. So the first one was spurred by a quotation I read from a Kurdish refugee called Dariush, which is at the top there. I slept in a graveyard. I didn't like to be in the city where people could see me. It's incredible how big your problems are when you're homeless in a strange city or strange country. You don't understand the language. It's so much worse than you can imagine. So, the dead are not suspicious. Here in the city of the dead, there are no eyes to follow me, uncertain of my honesty or fearing my intent. Beneath these gravestones, wrapped in lead, our petty inhumanities are wiped clean by eternity. Death knows no discontent. Even the birds are calmer here. There are no feet or speeding wheels to dodge while looking for a meal of stale, discarded crumbs. The ancient yew trees soothe my fears a while, allow me to conceal myself so I can start to heal, prepare for what's to come. And the second, I do a lot of translations, mainly from German and with my partner, who's Greek Cypriot, modern Greek. And this is one, it's a poet that we've been doing quite a lot of translations of recently. She's a Cypriot poet, Eli Peonido. This is one of 4 that's appearing in Poetry magazine sometime, not sure exactly when. It's a process, it's taking a very long time. So this is called Earth of Cyprus. We sifted through you, speck by speck, searching for ourselves. Modelled by Venetian walls, by scripts in Arabic and nameless tombs, at last we gave up hope. We papered over Iphigenia's and Isaac's sacrifice with lame excuses and transformed you into something to be bought and sold. And the last one, this is from a sequence that I've read some from before. Each one starts with the first line of a poem from one of the City Lights Pocket Poets series, the first 60. And this is from Ginsberg's Kaddish and other poems. And this is from Kaddish. O Mother, omniarch of home, in the world that you created, in the world that you renewed, omnipresence of protection through your lifetime and throughout your days. O Mother, omen of the past, reminder of what's yet to come in this or any other place, for us or any other people, in this world of grief and pain. O Mother, with your eyes that see and weep no more.
Thank you for that. I have a question, Peter, on that, the shape of that poem. Maybe I'm the only one that doesn't know, but what's the significance of the
Oh,
shape?
sorry. That's the Hebrew letter Gimel, which is the first letter in Hebrew and in Yiddish of Ginsberg.
Very good. Thank you so much. I love poems where you have that extra layer of almost like a restriction, right? The shape of the poem, it hinders, just the free um, flow of things, and yet somehow those constraints dial things in sometimes, and you could really feel that in that piece that it didn't take away from it. There was something there, and thank you for that. That's very nice. Dave Kelly, please.
Hello, I'm joining you from Gloucestershire in the UK, and I hope I'm going to be able to share the piece with you. I just have one for you. It's a Highburn called Lambing Season. The weather is fierce, perhaps slighted by the audacity of new life. Small raindrops batter me like hailstones. The world feels so small. I see little beyond my soaked spectacles, hear little apart from the tattoo of whipped water. There will be farmers out here later, looking for members of their wandering flocks. This feral wind, another crow rises from a scatter of bones.
Very, very nice. Thank you. The envoy at the end really works with that. That was very well done. Okay. Let's see here. Where are we at? Doug Van Hooser, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm coming to you from Whitewater Lake in Wisconsin.
not too awful far from Bob Moreland, I believe. I'm still on my thing of trying to bring some humor and not take myself too seriously here and writing some poems. So, and this first one is one of my No One Said prompt poems. No one said you will become a poet. That was my reckless idea, thinking I could say one thing but mean another. Besides, like and as may form a simile, but they are not similar. Radar spelled backwards is still radar, and some poetry is better understood played at 78 rather than at 33, regardless of one's hallucinogenic capability. Couplets and enjambments are the milk and sugar in my coffee. Alliteration and onomatopoeia are black pepper and cayenne. To be a chef with words, one occasionally gets cut or burned, but mostly you have to stare at the sky and see something other than blue and convince others the stars are still there. And the package needs stanzas of character and metaphors of personality and a musical sense of humor like an internal rhyme. Heck, I once got paid $50 a piece for 3 poems, 150 large. Okay, when you've published 100 for the munificent bounty of glory, that does look aberrant. Aberrance. That must be the real reason I am a poet. And the second one here is titled, Lately, It Seems Like 50 Times a Year. I've subscribed to the New Yorker since I was in my 20s, and this poem's from that. Lately, it seems like 50 times a year. I wonder, who picks the fiction for the New Yorker? Someone who goes to an orchard on a dank day and picks fruit off the ground? The poems huff and puff, but the short stories flop like a carp hauled into the boat. I guess the stories say something about the human condition. It must be up to the movies to tell the inhuman condition. But unlike the poetry, most of the stories have no sense of smell. Sniff the poems. Scent of lilac, lily, hay, chicken shit. Maybe I should apply to be the fiction editor with a nose. I admit it's my only qualification beyond the fact I can read. I know what I like, stories that purport of truth, narrate events in domino fashion, entrance, inveigle, embalm words in a poignant stew, tears of cutting an onion, characters that try to shake my hand or windmill me with kick after kick. But I find myself thinking, what's for dinner? Where are the stories that leave awake? Are an M80, not a sparkler? Am I being too harsh, being a habanero critic? I thought the stink bomb corpse flower bloomed rarely. Ah, wrong again. Another story tanning on the sand. And the final one. The clock hands applaud. It's another birthday. It flutters by like a butterfly, disappointed I have no nectar to offer. It seems the special day comes faster than winter becomes spring. But it is the one time a year I bake a spice cake, embed it with raisins, blow out a candle, and sing that song that professes happiness. I flour and fry chicken like my grandmother did and make milk gravy from the drippings for mashed potatoes. An heirloom to pass down to my kids who think my birthday is scary since my mother and father-in-law both died on it. I attempt to explain the odds, but they think that is odd. Being odd seems to be my forte. Opera, Irish pub songs, Bergman films, 100-mile bike rides, metaphors that crab crawl on all four and occasionally stand on 2 feet. I watch the minute hand sprint past the hour hand. Time has become a bullet train, stops at fewer stations and takes on fewer passengers. I hesitate to climb aboard, unsure I will like the scenery, unsure of the final destination. Thank you.
Thank you. Always good. Yeah, the chat's blowing up. And for the people who stop by and visit, who get those invitations in your email box, but you just go to the YouTube to listen instead of coming to participate, you're missing out because the chat is a lot of fun. And the viewers don't get to see all of that, but it's quite lovely. Okay, Chris Wood, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chris Wood. I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I have three poems that I think are fairly related to the theme. These first two here were published in Salvation South. Heritage. I feel them in my blood, my ancestors. My body is their body, cells, molecules, chromosomes melted and molded to form me. Celtic and Germanic lines blurred and blended on American soil, tilled in Appalachian ground until they grew into something new. I see their names written between the Old and New Testaments, King James written in Elizabethan script, faces printed on daguerreotypes, tucked in the books of Judith and the Maccabees, show the shape of my eyes, blue, a trait held in my father's genetic material, hidden behind his brown eyes, carried from my grandfather. I want to dive into my DNA, down deep to the core where my ancestors dwell, see past the glass darkly, travel through the dimensions. I know their future. They know my past. And this next one is called Birthplace. I beckon my old Kentucky home, the Commonwealth, the Iroquois land of tomorrow, north blurring into the south. I hear the twang of bluegrass and horse country, Lexington's legacy, Bill Monroe. I crave Kentucky Fried Chicken, Jim Beam, mint juleps, and wide brim hats. I miss running barefoot in Appalachia, spun honey dripping from beehive frames, s'mores. I recall Saturday softball games with a Louisville slugger, underground passages snaking through Mammoth Cave, camping at Laurel Lake and Dale Hollow, college basketball. I picture cardinals nesting in tulip poplars, goldenrod thick along the highway, the Cumberland Plateau, Daniel Boone and coonskin hats, Fort Knox, the coal miner's daughter. And this last one is going to be coming out in Impressions magazine. This one is called What Lies Underneath. My childhood home is no longer there, each brick torn down to make room for progress, a parking lot filled with used vehicles. I remember the land underneath, the dirt that holds my history, bones of my dogs, Fonzie and Sugar, gerbils and parakeets and black mollies, roots of the poplar I climbed, blood out of scraped knees and tears from honeybee stings. Today, as I drive to my home in Tennessee, I think about the land, the dirt under my tires, under the asphalt. What memories are stored there? What stories can they tell? Women before me who had no voice, their words cut down like the forest around them, their runes trapped in the mud, stomped and flattened for highways, for skyscrapers. Paving the way forward, I can feel the rumble of the wild horses they tamed, the rivet gun pounding on the home front, and the boiling canners. Mason jars filled to feed and protect their children, their children's children, me, you. I hear the whirl of Singer sewing machines, dishes clanging in the cafe, typewriters clacking in the pool of desks outside the office. There's there's still stilettos clicking across the boardroom floor. My fingers move across this backlit keyboard, feet propped up, hair in a messy bun, living off their legacy. Thank you. I apologize for flubbing that up.
No, you did great. It was really, really nice. Thank you for that. Okay, so we're going to go to Emily Strauss, I believe, and then stick around because we have the prompt for next month. And instead of what I usually do is stop the video and then give the prompt. I'm actually going to give the prompt while the video is still running and then stop the video so that people that come behind it didn't attend today can see it. Okay, so Emily, please.
Hello, everybody. Apparently, I am representing the western part of the United States. I live in a small town in southern Oregon, about 70 miles from Crater Lake National Park, which you may have ever seen a picture of once, the mountain with the big lake and the volcanic island in the middle. Very nice place. So that's where I'm from. I have 3 poems, and I don't always remember your prompts, but I think I have one that might be suitable. Let me try. This one, share. It worked. This was from a conversation that I sort of overheard at this little dinner thing that I went to. Lost in time. I don't remember time, he mumbles slowly. It was a good experience on the aircraft carrier. I had 3 daughters. I wasn't home much. Yes, I enjoyed it. At sea, we didn't have to face those people, the ones against. I stayed away from them. 5 years it was, but I don't know when exactly. We were a group on board, a team. No, I never saw Vietnam, just offshore. I don't remember anymore. A good experience on the ship. The planes were loud. They flew off at dawn, returned by noon. We were at sea, a good team. I don't remember time. Yes, I really enjoyed it. Stayed away from those people. Everyone has an opinion. I don't know. Okay, let me go to a second one if I can do this. Let me do that. Okay. A picture of my part of the world, very different than apparently where you folks live. Nothing here. Big leaf sage to the horizon. Next gas, 121 miles. This road past volcanic flows, plugs, vents, among old homesteads, siding curled and faded from the sun and winter, small bloodied bodies on road margins, rusted mailboxes sagging, trees struggling in a yard down a dirt lane, fields of broken cars and machines, cows staring from the shade of an old water tank, gathered yearly to brand. Even the trash blown into another county by relentless winds that sweep the desiccated uplands into yellow dust devils that reach down and swirl the powdery dirt, dance it along the ridges and escarpments where molten rock stopped moving and cooled. Nothing now means the absence of trees, even at the pass. Waves of sage, the tallest things alive. Gray-green in the heat, shimmering on silent land, nearly empty, except for busted, rusted pieces of steel, wood planks, nests of barbed wire, fallen down fence posts, unreadable signs full of shotgun holes, a disorder of boredom, of lives wasted, left behind in despair, failed ventures without water. Nothing remains but one building back at Diamond. Gas pump, ice machine, motor oil, potato chips, melted chocolate bars, old coffee, no bills over $20, withered owner. And I know, where am I going? Hang on, I'm working on it. This one. Okay. Small town life. Morning travails. A girl was carrying a cat wrapped in a blanket in the door, tears streaming down her face. The receptionist leaped up to take it. I left to buy 2 donuts from the drive-thru down the street. By the time I returned, 2 more desperate cats were brought in. A snowy, cold morning, a Thursday of injuries. Trucks in the ditch on the highway, road shut down at the pass. Sugar thudded in my temple. My dog's cut got sewn. The sun sliced through the clouds for a moment, glaring in my eyes. My dog whimpered a little. Traffic was light in the slush of the streets. A day of wounded animals. Donuts sold out by 8. Come back tomorrow early. I paid my bill. The crying girl went home. I was too stuffed to eat lunch.
Very good. Thank you for that. All right, just a couple points and then I'll end the video and we'll stick around to say hi to each other for a minute. Gloria sent me a note privately, a private message, nothing secret. Just says we should have a humor day. The prompt for May was going to be ekphrastic, right? Ekphrastic poems where you have a picture, like you take a picture and then you write a poem about the picture. And typically you'll display the picture on the screen as you read the poem, and then people can do that. But I like this humor idea. And so perhaps what we can do is interpret the picture in some absurd way that it was never intended to be interpreted in order to make it funny. The prompt is either a ekphrastic poem by itself in the traditional style or humor, and we'll just leave it there so that anybody can interpret that how they want. And remember, if you are watching this video and that intimidates you, or you don't, if you don't want to share the screen, you're not comfortable sharing your screen, or you've never done it before, you can simply choose a picture everybody knows, like a classic Mona Lisa or something, and you can read the poem about that without worrying about it. So thank you all for your participation this month. It was absolutely wonderful, as I've come to expect from this great group, and we'll see you guys in May.